So I shall live, because you shall live and see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I am back. I don't know what I did. I clicked something, then it went private. And I want it to be public because I want all my students to learn. Come in and say hi to me, dear ones. Kindly come in and say hi to me. We start again. Come in and say hi so that I may know that I'm still public. Because I went private mistakenly. I think there was an error. Come in and say hi. Am I public? Those who are there. I shall leave. Are you there? Am I public? Thank you. I have one like. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. I went private. That's why I exited from that live and I started another one. So welcome, welcome again. We continue with our nice topic because I know there are people who are planning. Yes, thank you so much, my visitor. I can see you are back. Asante San, thank you. I know I'm public now. I'm happy to know that I am public. Continue liking the video as you enter. Continue liking the video and subscribe, please. Before you start watching my live, kindly subscribe for very amazing videos, educative on how to do your travel plan and visa application successfully. So get in and say hi to me. I want to start when we are several. I want to start when we are several, and I know we are all going to enjoy. So welcome, welcome, welcome all. Welcome my visitors, my viewers. When you get in, kindly say hi to me. Get in and say hi to me. Do not stay outside. Get in for a cup of porridge and say hi. When you get in, there is hot porridge. Kindly say hi to me for a cup of porridge. Kindly like the video and subscribe before you start watching. I want to start my training. I am training about the visa interview, the visa process. I can see we have 15 of us, dear ones. Kindly like the video and subscribe if you have not subscribed. Alice Stewart, hi. Alice, how are you? Have you not liked the video, Alice? Kindly say hi to me, all of you. I can see we have 15. Ricardo Seti. Can you say me, Pias Ikaz? I cannot speak that language, dear. I speak English. How are you? Ricardo. Hi. Alice, thank you so much and like the video. Like the video and subscribe to my channel before watching. Hivati, how are you? Hivati, how are you? Like the video, Hivati? Welcome to my live streaming and take a cup of hot porridge. Professor Faust, hello, Professor. No, we are discussing the visas. We are discussing the visas, Hivati. We are only discussing the visa interview. That is I'm an expert in visas. That is my area of expertise. Visas and interviews, travel documents. So for that one, let us talk about the visas, about the interview when you apply for a B1, B2 visitor visa in the US, or when you apply for a H1B visa, work visa. Yes, Cristiano, how are you? We are discussing the work visa, the visitor visa for the US, the J1 visa for exchange program, because all of us know that we are, yes, Cristiano, yeah. So, like the video, guys, I can see we are now many, the only one person have liked the video. Cristiano, have you liked the video? And Ahibati, like the video, Professor, and you can teach us very many things, Professor. I know you are very learned. You can also teach us many things, but Cartoon Code Master, how are you? Have you subscribed to my channel, Cartoon Code? Caleb, thank you. Have you subscribed, Caleb? Kindly subscribe to my channel and please like the video kindly before we proceed. And we have, oh, thank you so much, Cartoon Code Master. Cartoon Code Master, may the Lord bless you. May he open for you doors that no man can close. Thank you, Caleb. May you be blessed when going in and coming, when going out and when coming in. Asanteni sana. I think now we can kickstart our topic officially, because I can see we are several, and when you come in, yeah, thank you so much, Cartoon Code Master. Cartoon Code Master, be blessed. I want us to start our topic. Yeah, barikiwa sana to Cartoon Code Master. I love cartoons so much, by the way. Do you produce cartoons or what? Richard Gaku, thank you so much. Have you subscribed to my channel, Richard? Subscribe to my channel and let us kickstart and like the video, Mr. Richard. Oh, yes, thank you. Cartoon, I know you have subscribed, but Richard haven't. Richard. Yeah, Professor, I'm going to talk about the H-1B visa. I will talk about the H-1B visa. Yes, do I start with the H-1B visa or the B1, B2? That is the work visa. The H-1B visa is one of the work visas for the US. Let me talk about the H-1B visa. Then we can talk about the B1, B2 visa, because I saw your comment, by the way. I was just saying hi to those who have entered in my life. So the H-1B visa is a US work visa, whereby you get a job in the US, and the company in the US, you get a job offer from a US-based company. When you get a job offer from a US-based company, you could be you could have gone to the US with a visitor visa, or you could be back in your country. Maybe you live in an African country, wherever, and you get a job offer in the US. They are going to fight for you so that you might get a H-1B visa from the US embassy in your country. So, if you are in the US, you went on a visitor visa, so I'll answer that later. If you went to the US on a visitor visa, and you have applied for work, and you go to work in the US, the best thing that you can do, you go back to your country. For example, if you live in Uganda, you live in Congo, you live in wherever, and you went to visit the US with a visitor visa, and you applied for a job and got a job in the US, yes, Cartoon, we shall talk, and you got a job in the US, it's good to exit, and it is always good to apply for that work within the visa validity. Do not be in an overstay, because if you're in an overstay in the US, you are going to get trouble with the consulate officers. So, if maybe you went to the US and your visa, you have been given 1 month or 2 months, depending on your purpose of visit, and during that time you apply for a job in the US, and you get a job offer with a US company, they are going to fight for you. They are going to fight for you a H-1B visa, but it is good to exit. Go back to your country. If you live in Kenya, Uganda, Congo, wherever, Gambia, go back to your country so that they can fight for you when you are back in your country, so that you can go for the visa interview in your country. And remember, even for the H-1B visas, we have got many restrictions and a lot of backlog. There are very many people who apply for the work visas in the US, but sometimes you get a denial because of various reasons. Because even when you go to the embassy, you are going to be asked very many questions. Like, for example, when you are applying for the H-1B visas, we have like questions like, do you have any relatives in the US? That one, you have to answer that, whether you have got other relatives, and what is their status in the US. Do you know why they normally ask those questions? Because they want to know, because a H-1B visa is an immigrant visa. A H-1B visa is not an immigrant visa. It is non-immigrant. It is granted for you to go and work and go back to your country. After you are working, whatever is expired, though you can extend all the time. So, when you get there, you have to answer questions like, do you have any relatives in the US? Do you know why they normally ask those questions? Because they want to know, did your relatives go on a visitor visa and refuse to exit the US at the appointed time? Are they living in the US illegally, or they have got a violation, immigration violation? Because we have very many people who live in the US who have violated the immigration rules. You go on a visitor visa, and then instead of exiting in your due time, you extend your stay in the US. You seek asylum or do anything that is an immigration violation. That one can make you. For such a reason can make you to get the visa, to be granted the visa, or to get a denial, because they want to know these your relatives, did they go to the US illegally? Are they in the US illegally, or they have violated the immigration rules? Because there are some people who normally travel to visit and then they extended their stay. Sometimes they extended their stay. Sometimes they seek asylum with a visitor visa, which is an immigration violation. So when you are answering the questions, you need to give all the details of your relatives who are in the US. And they normally ask you, even when you are filling that application form, whether you are who is going to sponsor you in the US. In case you have someone who is sponsoring you, maybe you have the company is going to sponsor you. They are going to give you housing in the US. You are not going to have a problem, because some companies will cater for your stay in the US. They are going to give you housing, and they are going to be paying you by weekly basis. There are some companies who pay in weekly basis. So in this whatever, you are not going to have a problem, because they do not want you to go to become a public charge in the US. A public charge is where you go to the US and you have no one to cater for you. Maybe you start borrowing money from the other workers, or you become homeless in the US. They want to know whether there is someone who is going to cater for your needs before you get your first pay. So if you have a company in the US that is going to cater for you, that is going to be paying you in weekly basis, your wages in weekly basis, do not worry, just put that in the application. And when you go to the visa interview, because remember, the interview questions depend on the DS-160 form. The interview question that the embassy officials are going to ask you is what you filled in the visa form. They always tell people who are filling for the visas, always be accurate, because whatever you fill in the visa form is what the US embassy consulate officers will ask you, depending on whatever you filled in the form. So always be very accurate. Give all the right information, because if you lie and they discover during the process that you lied about anything, maybe about your relatives, maybe about your previous visits, whether you have applied for other visas in the US, always give right information to give the visa officers a soft time or an easy time when they are doing your visa process. Because remember, they normally have a backlog of other cases. They normally have a backlog of visitor visas. They normally have a backlog of immigrant visas. They normally have a backlog of J1 visa for the exchange programs. So be accurate in the application form, so that when you go to the embassy, you are going to have an easy time, you yourself as the applicant, and you are going to give the consular officers an easy time to process your case. So for the H-1B visa, it's a work visa that you normally get a job offer from a US-based company. If you have the qualifications, this one is always for people who have got a bachelor's degree or equivalent whatever qualification, because there are people who qualify because of work experience. Remember, you can be a manager of a company out of experience or out of a great working experience, and you don't have a bachelor's degree. If not that, you must have a bachelor's degree. There are people who are normally managers. They get promotions from supervisor. They go to the level of managers because of experience. Either you have a work experience, you are a manager or a senior person in a company, or you have a bachelor's degree. That one is the H-1B visa. You cannot go below that. If you are not, you don't have such qualifications, you cannot qualify for work in the US. They scrutinize a lot, because sometimes you could be having some job qualifications or maybe skills, special skills that the US people do not possess. That is why you see they have to be very keen when they are selecting you, because it seems there is no one in the US who can do that job, and you possess those skills that you possess, and you have to have a bachelor's degree or an equivalent working experience. So I think up to there, Professor, I think I have done some. I don't know whether I have answered you or not, Professor. Any other question regarding the H1B? I think now we can talk about the B1, B2 visa, because we also have very many people applying for the B1, B2 visa, and I thought it was wise to talk about the B1, B2 visa, because the B1, B2 visas are not, many people apply for those visas because they do not have many restrictions, like the H1B visas or the immigrant visa, the green card visa. Because the green card, remember, you have to have a Form 4 certificate or a equivalent work experience. So, or qualifying, not equivalent, but qualifying work experience. So, the same form that you fill for the H1B, because remember the H1B visa, and even the visitor visas, all those are non-immigrant visas. So, the form to fill now here is also the same DS-160. Only that now when you are filling for the visitor visas, the requirements are different because you are not going to work, you are going to visit. So, what are the requirements in the for filling the D1 or for filling the B1, B2 visa? The requirement for the filling for the DS-160 for the visitor visa are your personal information. What is your personal information? Your marital status, your date of birth, your passport details. You fill all your details, the travel plans, if you have got US contact details, where you are going to be hosted, because you remember, when you have a visitor visa, you have to have someone who is hosting you, then they have to give you their permanent address. So all those details, your additional information, the basic details about your family, your employment, all those things. If you have anyone who is going to accompany you, because there are some people who go to the US on a visit with other people accompanying them. Maybe colleagues from your company, you have to write all the details of those that are accompanying you. So you have to write all your information, your photo that is taken below 6 months, just like the green card photo. For the US Embassy photos, they must be within 6 months. They should not be above 6 months. They want to have a recent photo. So those are the details that you need when you are filling your Form DS-260 for the visitor visa. I think up to there we are good. And I told you when you are going for a visit, remember, maybe if you are working, because sometimes they will ask for a letter from your employer. If you are working, the time that one gets a leave in a normal in normal circumstances when you're working for a company is mostly 1 month. And when you are applying for the visa, if you wrote that you are working because you have got right your employment details, when you are applying for the visa, remember it has to tally with the leave that the company normally gives you. So if you go to the embassy to apply for a visa and you say you are going to stay in the US for 2 months or maybe 3 months or 4 months, and they know that in the work profession, one is normally given a leave for 1 month. Remember that one can cause a denial of the visa, because they are going to wonder if you are in the working profession and now you want to go to the US for more than 1 month. That one shows that your intention is not genuine. Maybe you want to go and violate the immigration rules. Maybe you want to go to the US to visit and then you overstay, or maybe you seek asylum. So when you are applying for the visa, remember if you are in the working profession, they want to know that you should apply within 1 month if you are in the working profession. But if you are a business person and you have to provide all the details about your business, you can apply otherwise. So when you are applying for the visa, remember when you are going to the embassy for the visa interview, you pay for the visa. That's why I told you, do never rush to apply for a visa. Take your time and know that you are seriously authentic. You have a genuine trip, because you have got to provide your travel itinerary showing that you are going to the US and coming back from the US to a country on this and this date. Your hotel arrangements, maybe the transport from the hotel, you have to have a nice detailed itinerary, because when you go to the embassy confused without planning your trip, you cannot get a visa. And remember, the visa interviews do not have time. They do not have time to waste. So plan everything well. Your travel itinerary, where you are going to visit. Maybe you are going to this place, next day this. You have the transport that is going to pick you from the hotel. You have the hotel details, so that even if they call that hotel, they can verify and see that surely you are going to that hotel. So before you are planning for your trip, and remember, they are going to ask about other travel history, whether you have traveled to other countries before, and how you went there and came back at what time. All those things you have to fill in the visa form, the form DS-160. Because as I told you, the DS-160 is for filling for the non-immigrant visas. For the DS-260 is for the immigrant visas. Am I clear to that point? Let me give you a chance to ask a question regarding the B1, B2 visa. Sometimes they call it B1, B2. Sometimes they call it B1 only. Sometimes they call it B2. So they can combine either B1 or either B2 or B1, B2. All those are temporary visitor visas for short business visit or short touristic visit in the US. So I think up to there I'm clear, but I'll give you 2 minutes to ask a question. Ask a question, Caleb. Any query regarding a visa, regarding a trip? And remember, when you are going to the US, your passport must be valid for 6 months beyond the period of intended stay. And how are you going to know the intended stay? You are going to know the period of intended stay depending on the ticket. So the passport must be valid for 6 months beyond the period of intended stay. So do not go with a passport that is already expiring in 3 months. You have to check the validity of the passport, because even if they issue the visa mistakenly without checking the passport validity, when you go to the airport, you are going to be denied. And remember, changing for a ticket, it costs money. When you go to the airport to travel with a particular flight, remember, when you go to the airport, they are going to check the passport whether it has the validity of 6 months beyond your period of intended stay. So if you are going to stay up to February 2025, your passport must be valid at least the minimum from February 2025 up. So 6 months from February 2025. So you count February. Maybe if you are going to stay up to 28th of February 2025, you count from March, April, May, June, July, August to the end of August, the minimum. It must be, if you are planning to fly up to February 2025, your passport must be valid. The minimum validity for your passport should be up to August, end of August 2025. Because I normally see people with invalid passport. The passport is still valid, but it does not qualify because it is not 6 months beyond the period. Because every country have got different validity requirement. For the UK, it is different. For the US, it is 6 months beyond the period of intended stay. For India, it is 6 months on arrival. As long as the date you arrive, the passport is valid for 6 months. So every country have got different validity requirements. So always check on that. But if your passport is valid until 2026, 2020, whatever, it is good to go in any country. But if anyone here, your passport is valid until 2025, now start calculating the months. It could be less than the validity required. But if it is 2026, 2027, from today, it is good to go. So I think I have done something about the B1, B2, and the DS-160 form that you normally fill is an application form for the visa. And sometimes people normally make errors when they are filling the form, the application visa for the application form, the immigrant. For the immigrant, sorry. Sometimes applicants normally make mistakes, or they do errors when they are filling the form DS-160, and they discover after they have submitted. But good news is, you can always rectify the form even after submitting. So what you can do, you can go back to the Consular Electronic Application Center, CEAC, Consular Electronic Application Center, and you select application using your application number. Because you will always have an application number, so you select create a new application, and you can always edit the details and you submit later. So edit and add any questions. You can edit anything that you maybe did wrong, and then you submit. But I always tell people, before you submit something, whether you are filling a green card form, the DS260, whether you are filling the visitor visa form DS160, before submission, always go back and read all the instructions again. You can even read it twice before submitting. But there's always a way that you can retrieve it. There is always a way you can retrieve it and collect any information. Because remember, visa interviews are time consuming and they cost money. So if you go, and then I'll also talk about the F1 visa, the study visa, because people raise questions that they went to the embassy and they had paid for the school fees and they were denied the visa. Remember, even if you apply to the school and you pay the school fees, and they do not know why the school should charge you the money before the visa is issued. Because now the school will give you the visa. They are going to give you, they are going to give you the chance when you apply and you qualify. But now you have to go for a visa interview. Remember, I told you this. When you are going for a study visa, interview, they normally check every application of visa that you made in their site, especially the US. They normally look at every application that you made in their site. So they are going to check. You are now coming to apply for an F1 visa, and you had tried to apply for a B1, B2 visa. You had tried to apply for a green card visa, and the green card visa is not even yet out. For example, those who applied for the green card in October to November 7th, then immediately after that, you start applying for a F1 visa for students. They are going to wonder why you are doing that. And that one can be a ground for your refusal. And that's why I invite my viewers, after you apply for a green card visa, take your time before you apply for another visa. If it is not an emergency, you can apply for another visa if it is an emergency. But if it is not an emergency, do not rush to apply, because when you go to the consulate office for the interview, they are going to ask you, have you ever applied for another visa? And even if you say yes or you say no, they have the details in their system. So even if you say no, you cheat them, they are going to check in the system. And I told you, do never lie to the visa officer. When you lie, then you give them an easy time for them to cancel you and to call another person for the interview. So have all the details. If you apply for a visa, wait until for example, the green card visa, wait until May 3rd, 2025. When the results are out and you are not selected, now you can try another visa. But if it is an emergency, you want to go and visit because there is an emergency must be proven by the visa consulate officer, you can apply. So for the student visa, they normally ask you many questions. Do you have any, just like the H1B visa, do you have any relatives in the US? They want to know whether you have other relatives. What is their status in the US? Are they staying in the US illegally? And even if you lie to them, when you give them the details of the relatives, they can check in the system and see how the relatives went. Because when you enter the US and exit, they have all the information in their database. So if you visit and overstay, they have the information. So if you have relatives in the US who are there illegally, it is very likely for the visa or the consulate officer to deny you a visa. Simply because it seems they are going to look at it in this point that your relatives normally go to the US and then they do a violation of immigration. So that one can be a ground for a refusal, but not all the time. Because they treat each case, it is a case to case or whatever. So when you are going for the F1 visa, because now imagine paying for the school fees and then you go and pay for the visa fee. Because before you sit for the interview, you start to pay you first of all pay the visa fees. Imagine all that money and then you are denied. So I would prefer, before you plan for a study visa, Please sit and think about it. You can share with your parents. You can share with people who are bright regarding visas. You can share with the people who can assist you on how to go through it, because if you are going to apply for a course and you have never had interest in that course, maybe you just saw a course online and then you apply in a university in the US, and in your education career, there is nowhere that shows you have had any interest on that course. Whatever you do now is totally different from the course that you are applying. Remember, that one is a ground for refusal, because they are going to check and see you are applying for this course, and in your lifetime there is no way, even in your education, even in your high school, or even in college or in university or wherever, you have done such anything related to that course that you want to go and study in the US. So do not think that the study visa is the easy way out. Please calculate yourself, make your calculations well before you apply for the visa. Getting a refusal is very easy. And remember, the visa officers they are not malicious. They only look at the form DS-260, not the form DS-160, because I told you for the non-immigrant visa, e.g. the H-1B visa, e.g. the J-1 visa, e.g. the F-1 study visa, e.g. the M1 visa, all those other visas that are non-immigrant, they normally check what you have written in the form DS-160. So do never rush or go to a cyber person who does not have any information regarding US. Even the US citizens do not know such, by the way. People think that people who live in the US, maybe the Mzungus or whatever, then they do not know because they have never applied for those visas. Remember, if it is a Mzungu, they do not care about applications of visas. So you need a visa expert to advise you on how to go about it. Do not rush to apply to do the form application or the visa form application, because that one is the visa application form, the DS-160, before you sit down and think about what you are going to write. Because whatever you write on the form is what the consulate officer will ask you. They have no time to investigate you so much. They only rely on the DS-160. But if they think anything is suspicious about you, they are going to check in the system and see all that. But when they see you are straightforward, they are going to issue the visa. But for the study visa, especially the study visa and the B1, B2 visas, you have to calculate it very well before you go for the interview. There are people who tell me they do like 10 interviews. You go and pay for the visa, you are denied, you go back home, you do another interview, simply because you do not have knowledge on what to do. The Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. That is God saying about his people. They perish because of lack of knowledge. People lack visas because of lack of knowledge. And so please, before you apply for a visa, calculate your steps, have all the information, the genuine information. If you are applying and you are working, remember, if you apply for more than 1 month, a visit for more than 1 month, they are going to suspect you. Because they know, for example, in your country, okay, you know the US embassies in particular countries. If they're in Uganda, they normally all know so many things regarding Uganda, regarding Ugandan education, regarding how people are employed, regarding about, and it's too hot. Let me open the window. They normally know so many things regarding that country. If they are based in Kenya, they are going to know the rules and regulations in Kenya, how the management or the companies give leaves. So imagine some people go to the embassy, you go and fill the form DS-160 form, and when you sit when you start on the window, because it's normally like a window, you tell the visa officer that you want to go to stay in the US for 3 months. And you have written in the form DS-160, you work in a particular company, maybe you are a supervisor, maybe you are a manager, you are subordinate staff, whatever you are in that company, and then they see now you are applying to go to visit, just visit. It's not because the company have sent you, because if the company sends you, you don't have the information. But now you are going to visit on your own, and you are telling the visa officer, you filled in the form that you want to go and visit for 2 months. They are just going to look at you, because they have no time to discuss so many things with you, and deny you the visa and tell you to try your luck another time. You lose your money and you get discouraged. So before you wake up to go to the embassy, or before you fill the DS-160 form, make right calculations, make right plannings, ensure your passport is valid for more than 6 months. Because if the passport do not have the validity, the required validity, they can put the visa in your passport, and then when you reach the airport, my dear, you are stuck. Remember, you have booked the flight, and when you book a flight and you don't fly on that day, we normally have something called change of reservation. Change of reservation costs money. So you are going to waste your time, you are going to pay more money for your change of reservation. So before you plan your trip, ensure that you have everything. So that is it. Let me give you a few seconds to maybe ask a query. Ask any question regarding the visa interview. Because as I told you, we are international, we are local and international. We can travel to Africa, we can travel to Australia, to Canada, wherever, because that is God's creation. As long as we have the rightful documents. Any queries? My beloved viewers, I'm giving you time to ask any question. It's very hot. So for the B1, B2 visa, before you apply, make your calculations. For the H1B visas, just write whatever they have asked you. If you have any relatives, give the details. Do not lie. Because when you lie to a visa officer, it can cause you to be refused a visa. It's a ground for refusal or a visa denial. So whatever you are feeling during the visa application form, the DS-160, write every detail genuinely, whereby when you go to the embassy, when they ask you a question, you're automatically going to give the right answer. Because as I told you, there is no perfect lie. When you lie, you can confuse yourself in future. When you lie, you can forget and talk the truth tomorrow. So always talk the truth from start to finish. That is what is called integrity. You have to have integrity, and I know that is why the visa officers are very strict on lies. If you lie and they discover, they deny you forever. Some people are normally banned forever. Even people who go and overstay in the US. Maybe you go they give you 3 weeks, you take it 4 weeks. They can give you some ban, depending on the overstay. Some overstays, they can give 3 years. Some overstays, they can give you 10 years. And in 10 years, I don't know whether you are going to go back to the embassy and get a visa. Even after the ban, I'm sure when you go back to the embassy for interview, even if they give you a 3 years ban, going back to the embassy for another interview, it can also be a ground for refusal, because they are going to suspect you again and think, maybe even this time when you go to the US, you are going to have an overstay. So whenever you go to visit, exit at the right time. And when you exit, you can always go back to the embassy and get a visa. Formerly, the US embassy used to give a visa for 5 years. Even nowadays, sometimes, mostly to the elderly people now, but formerly, most people are given a 5 years visa. Though when you're entering the US immigration, they give you a specified period of time. Does not mean that when you have a 5 years visa, you can go and stay in the US for 5 years. So formerly they mostly used to give a 5 years visitor visa, but when you are entering the immigration control in US, for example, if you're entering in Newark, New Jersey, or wherever, the immigration officer will give you maybe 1 month, because they are going to ask you maybe 2 questions and know the reason for your visit. They can give you 1 month depending on your reason. Some are given whatever. So even if it was issued for 5 years, the visa officer is the one who is going to decide on how many days or months or weeks they are going to grant you, and they put in the system. So when you enter, ensure that you exit at the appointed time. But nowadays, I'm seeing them issuing visas even valid for 1 month. If you are going for a conference, maybe a church conference or a work conference, they give you only a visa for the days that you are going to be in the conference. Nowadays, they are tightening their rules, because most people normally abuse their privileges. You are given a privilege, you are given a 5 years visa, and then you decided to abuse the privilege. So now they are tightening their rules. When you are going for an interview, for a conference, they give you visa for 1 month. Some are given visa like that. They don't give the 5 years visas now. They are not that popular. Not that popular, but sometimes they can. But I know there are people who have the 5 years visas. But remember, when you go to the US, you cannot stay for 5 years, not unless you have a reason. And the reason must be known by US immigration. So that one is a different case. So ensure your passport is valid for more than 6 months when you are going to the US. 6 months beyond the period of intended stay, because all countries have got different rules. Like for European territories, and the European territories are like the likes of Germany, like Belgium, like whatever, Czech Republic, Norway. The passports must be valid for 3 months beyond the period of intended stay if you are a visitor. But if it is them that are visiting one another, if it is a European to European, they do not check the 3 months with validity. So if you are Kenyan, a Ugandan, or whatever, even a US passport, going to Europe, because a US is not a European passport. If it is a US passport, or a Kenyan passport, or a Ugandan passport, or a Gambian passport, Malaysian, Singaporean, going to visit Europe. And I told you the countries in Europe are Brussels, no, Belgium. Brussels is the capital city for Belgium. We have Belgium, we have Norway, Greece, we have Hungary, Czech Republic, we have Liechtenstein, we have Sweden, we have Slovenia, Slovak Republic, all those territories in Europe. Your passport must be valid for 3 months, beyond the period of intended stay. You see, it's a different thing from the US. US is 6 months, Europe is 3 months beyond. For the UK, United Kingdom, your passport must be valid for the period of intended stay. So that one is they are more lenient. If your for example, if you are going to visit the UK for 1 month, as long as your passport is valid for that 1 month, or even that 1 week, you are good to go. They don't have the 3 months beyond. If you are going to visit India, for them that go for medical, because even India is another destination that most people visit because of medical, the passport must be valid for 6 months on arrival, not like the US. For the US, it's 6 months beyond the period of intended stay. Meaning, after your ticket, you check the date of your the return date on your ticket and count 6 months. But in India, during the arrival, the date that you arrive in India, if you are arriving tomorrow, you count 6 months from tomorrow. So ensure that your passport has a validity, a minimum validity of 6 months on arrival. I think that one is good to note. And by the way, I can talk a little bit about India, though I was not planning to talk about India, because as I told you, I'm a visa expert for Europe, for US, for Canada, for the Gulf. You know, the Gulf have got 6 countries. I told you they are Saudi Arabia, we have got a UAE, we have got Bahrain, we have got Kuwait, we have got Oman, and we have got, which one did I forget? So let me start again. We have Bahrain, we have Kuwait, we have Oman, Saudi Arabia, we have Qatar. Did I count Oman, or am I repeating myself? So there are 6: Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Bahrain. 6. Yeah. So if you need any question, if you have any question regarding Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, the GCC, they are called the Gulf Cooperation Council. There are 6 countries. Or any question regarding the Asian territories. And the Asian territories, we have all those countries like China, Japan, Singapore, all those countries. And by the way, India is one of our main destinations. People normally visit India a lot. I hear there is touristic or whatever attraction in India. And we have got the medical visa. Most people go for medical. So it's also good to know, to talk something regarding India. Though I'm going to make a very detailed video regarding the documents that you need when you are going to India. Because I have seen people having problems in the airport because of lack of sufficient documents. Maybe you are going to visit India for a medical, you are going for a medical visit, and you don't have the sufficient documents. I will talk about it. I'm going to make a video regarding the Indian visit, for the visitors and for the other requirements. Even for them that are passing India, using an Indian flight, going maybe to Thailand, but for now, Thailand do not buy a visa for Thailand. For Thailand, my dear, I'm advising you, do not buy a visa for Thailand. We have a crisis in Thailand. Even when you go to the airports, nowadays you have to be cleared by the immigration officers because there have been crises in Thailand. We have got so many bad cases in Thailand. So whoever cheats you to go to Thailand for work, maybe for teaching work or anything, for now, please do not, from wherever you are. So for Thailand, do not try. People have been traveling there before. Wow, Abubakar, thank you so much, my visitor. Thank you so much. So from Gambia. Oh, thank you so much, Abubakar. Today we are not going to talk about green card because we are waiting for the results in May 2025. We are talking about other countries. We are talking about the US visitor visas, the H-1B visas, and we are going to talk also about other destinations because generally I'm a visa expert and a travel document expert. Anything to do with a travel document for any destination. And I told you the destination that I specify on is the Middle East, the 6 countries in the Middle East. Not the Middle East, all of it. The Middle East here is the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, the 6 destinations in the Gulf, and also Israel, and also Turkey, by the way. Sorry, I forgot Turkey. Turkey is another destination that most passengers travel to. It is a nice transit destination going via Turkey. So that is another destination. We have Turkey. I also, and then Egypt also. I'm also specified in Egypt, transit and travel, and the documents are required to go to Egypt. Also to the US, Canada, UK, and the European territories. All the European territories. Ask any question regarding Germany. Ask any question regarding Brussels. Any question regarding Switzerland or any destination in the European territory. So Abubakar, thank you so much. I hope you have subscribed to my channel and you have liked the video. Like the video, guys. So about the US visitor visa, please, before you do the interview, please do not forget what your teacher here is saying, because your teacher do not want you to waste your money and to go and fill the interview. When you are going for the F1 study visa, ensure that the course that you apply for, you have some connections with it. And when you go to the visa interview all the time, if it is an immigrant visa, they are going to check whether you have any ties to your country. What do I mean by ties? The ties means, do you have anything that shows that when you go to the US to study, you are planning to come back to your country? If there are no ties, most of the time they deny you the visa. For example, do you have any assets that shows that when you go to the US, you have the ties to come back to your country? How are you with your family? Do you have any family ties that when you go to the US, you can come back to your country because of the ties? Those are some of the things the visa officer will ask you to test you whether you have got any ties. And if they find that you have no ties, because I've seen very many young people going to the visa interview and be denied. Not all of them. Sometimes they issue the visa depending. What is endowment? Abubakar, I did not understand. What about German? How can one travel to German for? What is endowment? That one I think I didn't understand the question. Let me tell you something regarding Germany. Germany, because I'm also trained by Germans. By the way, I'm trained by Germans. I'm trained by the Swiss and whatever. But let me tell you about the Germans. Germany, to give you a visa, it is very, very difficult. Well, now that one I have never had. That one, by the way, with that one, for the religious one, I've never had. Because I've never seen anyone from Africa traveling to Germany for that, Abubakar. That one you can check online because I've never had. I only see people going for the au pair. There are some ladies who go for the au pair program. Au pair, I know there are people who know au pair. That one is for the ladies. So it's a special program. They go to work in the homes for the German people. But for that one, I have never seen or had I have never seen in my career as a document checker. Oh, okay. There's that one also. Abubakar, you can't. One day I'll call you to talk about that one. I don't know what that is. But if you are going to work in Germany, Germans are very strict with their visas. I normally see them issuing visas and then later they revoke them. They are normally very strict. They control their immigration to their country very strictly. So for the German embassy, not unless you have a very genuine purpose, maybe you are going to, by the way, for education, if you apply for a course to go and study, maybe you want to go and study German, they can give you a visa. But now you have to go through a very, very vigorous interview. So you can get a study visa, you can get a work visa, but it is very hard to get a work. Traveling to Germany, Abubakar, is very, very hard. Not unless you get married to a German. The one that I normally see being issued visa easily, if visas easily, are the ones that are married to Germans. If you're married to a German national, going there is very easy. You can go on a spouse visa. They normally give you a visa type D. D, D. A D visa for spouse. And education. If you want to go and learn Germany. You want to go and learn German, you can go to the embassy. You can apply for a school, by the way. You have to apply for a school first. If you get an admission letter, you can go and apply for a study visa. I normally see people going for studies. Yes, you can go for study in Germany. You can also go for work, but for work it is very hard. Not unless maybe you work in a company that has an affiliate company in Germany. It is possible maybe you work in your country and there is an affiliate company, a sister company in Germany. So Germany, mostly you can go to study. For the visit, it is also there, but it is rare. Before German embassy issues you a visa, there are some embassies that I know they are very strict with their visas. The German embassy, Dutch embassy, Belgium embassy. Those three embassies giving you a visa is very hard. But anyway, they can give you the visa, if at all you have a genuine reason. So for the German visa, the easiest one is the marriage visa, the spouse visa type D, joining family visa, the D type visa for joining the family. If you are married, if you have a spouse in Germany who is a German, or if a German comes here and marries you here and have the documentation, you can go to the embassy and request for a visa. You can apply for a spouse visa, family visa, or maybe going to join your parents, or going to study. For the study visa, if you apply for a school, you can get a visa after you get an admission from a school. So it is not a walk in the park. They are very strict with their visas because they want to control people who are going to their countries. So for Germany and Netherlands is the Dutch government. For Netherlands also, very, very difficult. The same process. If you are married by a Dutch, you can get a visa through marriage. For these countries, by the way, even the US, if you get married to a US citizen, getting a spouse visa is very easy. If you are married to a US citizen, that one you can get, they can file for you a marriage visa, a spouse visa. So for that one is not hard. So for Belgium, also the same. Let's say it's the same thing. Most of the countries in Europe, even Switzerland, you can apply to go and study after getting an admission from a school. So it is not an easy process. The possibilities are not, they are very, very low possibilities, Abubakar. Yeah, not unless maybe you are married to a national of that country or a citizen of that country. That is where you can get a visa easily, because they normally take you through a serious visa interview. For those countries in Europe, the country that maybe is not, can give you a visa easily even for visit, Italy can give you a visa. As long as you have a genuine visit. And I told you, whenever you go to visit a country, ensure that you exit in the due time. Because visiting other countries can also affect your visa issuance in the US embassy. Remember, the US will always ask you, have you ever visited another country? They are normally very strict on your history, on the travel history, to get to know, when you went to Italy, did you overstay? How many days did they give you? And remember, everything now is in the system. Even when you go to Italy and overstay, it is going to be in the system. So whatever your travel, whatever history. No, so now Abubakar, wow, yeah, I know there are not many. It is not easy. So for that one, I think you forget about it. Because now maybe you apply for a school. Maybe you apply for a school, Abubakar. You can get admission in a school. which is also very hard to get a school. It's a process. The school that I know people can apply and get easily, or you can go and work. You can look for work in Poland. Look for agents who are offering jobs in Poland and go and work in Poland. Those countries in Europe, sometimes you can get jobs. But for now, Poland, I heard there are no jobs. I'm not an agent, so I don't know, but I normally hear people saying, we have got work in Norway. There are jobs in, well, there's another country in Europe, though it's not European Union. We have got jobs in Serbia. You can look for work. You know, when you go to those countries in Europe and work and get a residence permit, now going to Germany or another country will be easier for you as long as you behave well in that country. Because now like going to Poland for work is not hard. Yes, DV is the best chance for Africans. DV Rotary. Let us hope for the DV. Yeah, DV is the best. That one is the best opportunity. No one should miss that opportunity. Even if they offer for 55,000 people in the world, it is better to try because you never know. Because imagine after winning the DV, there's a way you can finally get your people. Because as I taught in the other videos, when you go with a DV lottery, you go with a immigrant visa for the green card lottery. After 5 years, after you become a citizen, you can file for your sisters and your brothers. After you get the US passport, after living in the US for 5 years exclusively, after being a citizen of the US, now you can file for your sisters and your brothers. But before the 5 years, you cannot file for your brothers and your sisters. You can only file maybe for your parents. Because even when you are filling the form, you normally fill for your parents, the parents' details. So, Abu Bakr, that is so true. Let us hope for the best next year for many people to get it from Africa, from wherever, because that one is a golden opportunity to go and become a US resident and to enjoy all the benefits. Let's pray for US. US is a nice country, and I know people are going to win next year because nowadays they are doing the right thing. I taught you the legit things to do, the application process, how to do it effectively, how to fill all your children, because you can never leave out your children. But for the wives, only the one. As I taught you, US do not recognize polygamy. If they discover you are polygamy, you can be prosecuted by the way. They don't believe in polygamy. If you have got 10 wives, only fill one, that you have the marriage certificate and all the children for the other wives. Every child that belongs to you, whether they are step, biological, whether they are adopted, all of them. So for the DV, that's the best way. Because for the visitor, it is just for visiting. And when you go to the US to visit and refuse to come out, you are going to be a slave forever. Do never enslave yourself because of visiting, and then you stick in the US with a visitor visa. Go back to your country and look for other chances. But when you stick in the US with a visitor visa, you are going to work without any rights. You have no government, you don't have government services because now you are living there illegally. So for the visitor visa, that one is not the best option, but you can visit. It is good to visit, by the way. When you have got a good travel history, even when you go to the embassy, for example, if you want to go to visit the UK and you have a US visa in your passport, getting a visa is very easy. If you want to go to Switzerland, they see you have a US visa. These visas that are from strong countries. If you have a visa for Canada nowadays, I told you, Canada's visa now, Canadian visa, if you have not traveled on it, is a new visa. That one we don't count. But a US visa, a UK visa, or Switzerland visa, German, those countries in Europe and US and whatever, those visas are very powerful. So the travel history is very, very important. So if you have no need of going to visit anywhere, do not go. Because if you overstay even in Qatar or even in Dubai, it can affect your visa interview in the US embassy. Any misbehavior on TikTok, any misbehavior in YouTube, any misbehavior in what? What else do we have? Instagram. I don't know, Facebook, I don't know, whatever. Can make you get a refusal. Nowadays, do not do anything that can make you get a refusal, because they are going to check everything in the social media. Any comments, any insults. You insult the Americans, you insult the American president, you talk ill about Trump. Remember, they are going to monitor all those and they are going to deny you a visa. So before commenting, before any action, do not think twice about it. So even for the DV Rotary, if you have anything dirty that you have done, remember it can cost you to get a refusal, because you have to have a police clearance certificate for the US, not for the US, from your country. A police clearance certificate from your country. If you have been a criminal, it can cost you to get a denial. If you have used drugs before, it can cause you to get a denial. If you have been, I don't know what, you have been in a militia group, maybe you are in those militia gangs in your country, because in Africa we have got militia gangs. Maybe you are in Boko Haram or whatever, all those militias. Maybe you are in I don't know what. Those militia groups can cause you to get a refusal. So whatever you do, please calculate. If it can cause you future harm. The embassy do not want to take someone who is going to be a murderer in their country. They want to take people who are going to be productive, and that is why you see they ask about the educational qualification or the work experience. They do not want to take people who cannot be productive. They want you to be productive, you pay taxes, and you make their country more productive. So social media activities, please be very sure that you are not an insulter of people. You don't misbehave in TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, or I don't know those things. I'm not in Facebook. I'm only in TikTok simply because I teach about visas. I have never been in TikTok before. I started TikTok this month. I think it is this month, but I don't some things in TikTok are not so nice. So TikTokers, YouTubers, bloggers, whatever you do, it can affect you in the long run. So please, let us be authentic. Your teacher here is authentic, and she wants everyone to be authentic. Any other question, Abubakar? Or any other comment? So let's hope for the best for the DV Rotary, and let us hope that it is going to continue even in next year, but one and continuous. And that's why I was encouraging people whenever. Thank you, Gachia. Thank you so much. Welcome. Karibu. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. So, whatever you do on TikTok, whatever you do in YouTube, whatever you talk, whatever you comment, even the comments. Remember, when you comment something, they can retrieve who the commenter is. So whatever you comment in TikTok, whatever you comment in YouTube, whatever you comment in, I don't know, Facebook, remember you can be tracked. So ensure that you are authentic in TikTok, in social media, in wherever. Because in the visa interview, they might deny you because of your dirty whatever. If you are dirty in TikTok, you are dirty. Your comments, you insult people, you insult Trump, you say Trump is a bad president, you say I don't know what. Sometimes keep some things to yourself. Otherwise, they can cause trouble. Because when you are, even for the DV, although the DV is passed, even if the DV is passed, we have to prepare for the next one. It is not bad to talk about it because we still have DV in 2020, whatever. Another visas, another whatever in other countries. So, what was I saying? In the DV form, the visa form, but I have taught before, even in the DV DS260 form, the visa form, you have to fill everything, whether you are a militia. You remember a militia? No, paramilitia. Is it paramilitia? A militia is the gang groups. If you're in Boko Haram, if you're in, I don't know, Tanganyika 9 Battalion, a guy don't know Sugusugu, a guy don't know Mogeke, anything that you are, any group that you are in, you have to fill in that form. And remember, after you fill in that form, that one is an automatic refusal. Elizabeth, how are you? Thank you so much, my dear. Welcome as we learn from the expert here. The expert here is spewing wisdom and knowledge. And those who want the knowledge and the wisdom are going to be good. The Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And when we have the knowledge, we are going to live light. In social media, no misbehaving, no insulting people, no minding other people's business, no doing evil things on TikTok, no doing evil things on YouTube, Facebook, because as I kept singing like a singer, whenever you go to the interview, they want to know whether you are a genuine person. Are you going to be beating people in the US? Are you going to be insulting people? Are you a good person? Are you going to work? And that's why they normally want to know your educational qualifications or the work experience. They normally based on the educational qualification, work experience, police clearance certificate to know whether you are a gangster. Remember, when you are going even for the interview for the DV lottery, you must have a good conduct. Nowadays, when you're going to work in Europe, you have to have a good conduct. So please, do not conduct yourself, as in your conduct should be pure and perfect before men and before the living God. Because you have to be pure and perfect and white as snow. Otherwise, if you are you are criminal, you are drug addict, you are drug whatever peddler, that one can cause you to have a visa refusal. So anything that you do in your life, remember nowadays it is in the system. If you did a crime, remember you can't get a clean good conduct. And that one, when you go with it to the embassy, you are going to get a refusal. If you say you are a militiaman, maybe you are in Sugusugu or Kamjesh, or whichever the group, remember that is going to be an automatic refusal. So, for the interview for the DS-160 I've taught today, Elizabeth, I was talking about the visa form for visit. You know, there is a visitor visa form and the immigrant visa form. The immigrant visa form, as I've been teaching, was as the form DS-260. Now that one is over for now, but it is not over because there are people who are filling it now. The one that won this year. The one that won this year now are filling the visa form. But today I specified on the DS-160 form, the visa application form for the visit, or for the H-1B visa for work, or for the F-1 visa for study, because that one is for the non-immigrant visas. Non-immigrant are the visas issued for the purpose of working and going back to the country. You go to the US and work, or you go to the US and study, or you go to the US and visit. You fill that one, the DS-160 is the form that you are going to fill. You go and work, either to visit, either to what else? Visit, work, and study, and other things. That is called the non-immigrant, because you are not immigrating. You are just visiting and exiting. And they have to see whether you have got ties. So before you rush to the embassy, they are going to ask you, do you have any ties to your country? Ties are like the assets. Do you have any assets? And you have to prove, by the way. You can say maybe you have a rental house, maybe you have a horse, maybe you have a cat, something that shows that when you go to that country for visit, you can go back to your country because of the ties. But most of the time, people are denied because they have no ties. They can guess that maybe you want to just go to the US and seek asylum later after visiting. So before you do the application form or applying for the visa, because it costs money, kindly calculate all your steps. Because when you go to the embassy, I told you, you have to pay. So I think I've talked enough. I think I'm 1 hour and 8 minutes. Not unless maybe there's someone with a query, because I started at 10 and now we are at 11:08. But we are hoping for the best for the DV lottery, that most of us here are going to be winners, so that we can celebrate. After Elizabeth, you arrive in the US, I'll give you the link, and we can celebrate Jesus because of the win. And Kachie, I don't know whether Kachie loves the US or he has to go to Poland or maybe to Serbia. We have got all the options. Sky is our limit. We can go to Serbia, we can go to Dubai, we can go to Qatar, we can go to Oman, the UK, the US, we can go to Turkey. Yeah, thanks, Kashie. Yeah, sky is our limit. We are not people to be limited by human being. We are limited only by the sky. Even the sky is not our limit. We can even go beyond the sky by the power of God. Sky is not our limit, by the way. That one, I cancel that statement. So I think I've talked enough about the DS-160 application visa for the study, for the H-1B work visa, and for the F-1 study visa. Yes, thank you so much, dear one. You are so blessed. You are so precious to me, and you are precious to God because you support me. Truth, friends, truth is okay. I love truth so much. I love all you are. I love all your support, Magachie, Elizabeth, Kina Swenzi, Kina Kaide Tukawaboi. You are all my beloved, and others in my group. And I know God is going to do me. We are going to go places. This one will be a place of testimonies that I went to the US, now I'm in Canada, now I'm in Germany, now I'm in Serbia, now I'm in Muzugumuitu, anywhere. As long as you go, you go. You don't have to care. You have to go even Muzugumuitu everywhere. Because we can't be limited. Any questions, Sky man? Any query regarding the application process? I thought about the passport validity. Before you apply for a visa, check the passport, whether it is still valid. The validity is still is okay, because countries have got different requirements for validity. Oh no, sawa. So, and remember, even when you are applying for a visitor visa, they also want to know your educational background. They also want to know about your educational background in that visa form. So you are going to fill the visa form with your educational background. I think the US normally wants people who are at least who can do something. But if you don't have the education or whatever, don't worry. We have got so many places to go. Sky is not our limit. We can go to Turkey. We can go to where? We can go to the Gulf. I told you the Gulf is the 6 countries. We have the 6 countries in the Gulf, the Qatar, the Saudi, the Oman, the whatever, the 6 countries. There you can go and work. You can go and work in Serbia. You can go and work in Norway. Norway is a very nice country, by the way. If you get a job, don't worry, go. I'm not an agent and I'm not planning to be one. I'm just your teacher regarding the travel documents and about authenticity, because I told you we have to be authentic. In our tabias, in our behaviors, we have to be authentic. When applying for the visa, authentic. Because many people fail the interview because they are not authentic. They do not have the information. You run to go to the embassy, or you run to go to apply for the visa without any information. You are planning to go to do engineering in the US. You even pay for the school fees, and in your lifetime, you have never been an engineer. Even in secondary school, there is nothing that you did that looks like engineering. Whatever you do now, you are maybe a grocer, you are a greengrocer, or maybe you are what? Maybe you are a hawker or something, and then now you are planning to go to the US to do IT. In your lifetime, maybe even you don't know how to use personal questions. I answer. You can post them in the comment section, because now I have to teach about the. You can post any question in the comment section. I'll answer you personally. But for the anything regarding the visa or travel, I'm going to answer here. But anything personal, I can only answer in the inbox, maybe in the YouTube channel. Yeah, because now here I'm talking about the visas. I'm talking about the whatever. The process for going to the embassy. Yes, Abubakar. Yeah, thank you, Abubakar, for that question. But I can only answer it in the comment section after this. So I was saying something, but I have forgotten. What was I saying about? What was I talking about? Abubakar, what was I talking about? I forgot. I was talking about people who are okay. People call me right and left that they went to the embassy, they did not get a study visa. And then I asked them, what is that person going to do in the US? People normally go to apply for courses that they have never done. Yeah, authenticity. Yeah, you have to be authentic. You apply to go and do IT, and maybe you don't even know how to use a computer. You have never done anything. Yeah, no, also, yeah, all those. Yeah, thank you so much, Abubakar. Thank you. So you are going to apply to do IT in the US, and in your lifetime, even what you do now is not related to IT, anything to do with the computer. Now, when you apply to that school, the school will not care because they want you to pay for the school fees, because it is a commercial organization. It is a money-making organization. So you are going to pay for your school fees, and then you go to the embassy for the interview, thinking that because you are paid for the school fees, you are going to get you are going to get a visa. Remember, the school and the consulate office are two different things. The school that you are applying for the study and the consulate office or the embassy are two different things. Now you go to the embassy and you fill a very nice DS-160 form about your educational qualifications, about yourself, your personal information. So when you go and sit in there, you start on that window, they are going to ask you questions. Simply because in your education, in your education qualification and everything, there is nothing that shows that you have anything related to whatever you are going to do in the US. Remember, that one is going to cause a automatic denial. You cannot get that visa, even if you paid how much in the school, because now that one is not the issue of the embassy. So before you apply for a study visa, do not get wrong information from hooligans who don't. There are people who normally mislead people. Some are agents. They don't care. You pay the agency fee. They go and apply for you. Very wrong information. Wrong. I'm not saying long. Wrong information that is going to cause you a denial. You pay for the agency fee. When you go to the interview, you lose the visa, you lose the school fees, and you lose the agency fee. Never rely on agencies. Always sit down, think about your life, what course you want to go and do in the US before you apply for the course. After that, sit alone or you look for a family member who is genuine, fill the form DS-160 together. Because you remember, the agents are very money thirst. They are normally very money thirst. They want to do it very quick and very fast for you to pay them, and they don't care about the eventuality. So please, I talked about authenticity. Be authentic before you apply. If you're not authentic, don't try to apply. Remember, the moment you go to the embassy and get a refusal, that one is like a black spot. It's like a black spot, because if you go and attempt another time to apply for a different visa, they are going to check your information and see that you tried to apply for a visa and you did not qualify because of this and this and that. So Miss Grace here is a teacher of authenticity. Authentic. Documents must be authentic, and the applicant, you yourself, must be authentic. Your passport must be authentic. You yourself must be authentic. The purpose of the visit must be authentic. Otherwise, we have got so many people going to the embassy for 10 times. How can you go to the embassy for 10 times, asking for a visa and being refused, and you find yourself again in that embassy? Because of what? You are not authentic. You are trying frantically to go and do your things. And because you don't plan yourself well, you get a refusal. Because you go to the agency. Remember, the agencies are not trained. Remember, even people in the US do not know the US rules. I told you have to be a trained personnel to know the rules for the country. There are people who come from the US or maybe traveling to the US, and they have got wrong travel documents simply because they do not know whether those documents are good to travel. So it does not mean because someone's in the US can give you the right authentic advice. Always get advice from the trained personnel, people who have got that experience for years, or someone you know who cannot mislead you, someone who is not commercial, but an agent. And they are normally very money thirst. They do not care about you losing everything. They want their pockets to be full and yours to be empty. They are going to give you the wrong information, feed for you the wrong information, and later you are going to be ashamed. The key thing here is authenticity. Be authentic. Even when I was going to Belgium, there was nothing like doubt, because we were going on a work whatever. Belgium embassy, they cannot just dish out their visas. But when you are authentic, you get your visa like yes immediately. They just take you a photo, a digital photo to put in the visa. You leave your passport in the embassy, and then you go for the passport and the visa. When you are authentic, you do not lie, and you get a visa like yesterday. Before even you apply, you have gotten the visa. So authenticity. Even when you get a work permit, because remember, when you apply for work, maybe for those people who are going through agencies, and I'm not an agent, by the way, and I'll never be one. I'm only a teacher of travel documents because that is my area of expertise, and to date that is my work. But I do not do anything to do with, I don't do anything to do with agencies, because I don't want it. I just fear those things. If you get a work permit from an agent or from whoever is applying for you the work, when you go to the embassy for the interview, remember you have to pass the interview. It does not mean that when you get a work permit from maybe an organization, when you go to the interview, you have to pass. The way you present yourself in the embassy will also matter. There are people who go for work interview. Remember, you have paid for some money for the agency fee so that you can get the work permit. Because remember, a work permit, for example, if you are going to work in Poland, this is just an example. If you are going to work in Poland, the company in Poland is going to issue you a work permit, because a work permit is issued by a government, not by the company. The company goes to the government. The company that is going to employ you, for example, in Poland, will go to the Polish government, get a work permit, and then send it to you, so that you can go to the embassy of that country. For example, if you are going to work in Poland and you are from Uganda, you go to the Polish embassy in your country, and if there is no Polish embassy, there is the embassy that is going to take care of that, or the neighboring country embassy that is near your country. When you go for the interview, the process is the same. Remember, you can fail the interview because of how you present yourself. I told you for the work interview, you have to look very official. Have a folder with all your documents, whereby when they ask for anything, you just remove it so easily. And you should look like you want that to work. I normally tell people who are going for the interviews, any interview, even if it is a job interview, when you are going for the interview, show positivity. Do not feel bad. They can post a you to even check your tempers. And there are people who are normally very bad-tempered. When you ask a question, you feel like they are not willing to give you a visa, and then you become rude. Do never be short-tempered, even in a job interview. In a job interview, be presentable, look official. Do not. Thank you so much, Baracom Services. Welcome to my live show. Thank you so much. Like the video, guys. Thank you so much. Karibu. Today I'm talking about visas, the visas and the work interviews, and even the job interviews. If you are going for a work interview, be very presentable. If it is the ladies, have your hair very well done, very, very nicely done. Have your dress, you have to have an official dress. Do not dress like fancy. Do not dress like, even if it is smart, do not do a fancy dress. Be very official. You can put on very nice shoes, official shoes, not like the wedding shoes. The shoe that you go for dinner. Just do something official and show them the positivity. Even if you feel like you are losing your temper, because some visa officers might not be friendly, never lose your temper. Always keep it cool. Answer the question the way they are asked, and have a nice folder with all the documents. Your passport, your educational transcripts, anything that you have that is required in the interview, and answer all the questions very accurate. Always revise before you go to the interview. Look very smart, look very official, and show the visa officer that is your livelihood. Show them that really you need that work. Because without that, my dear, you can't get a job. And this is not only for the visa interview. Even for the job interview, when you are going to be employed, you are going even in your country to an office to get an interview. Do not go like you are going to the market. Put on very official. You can even borrow someone a very nice suit. Ensure that it is well ironed. And pose like an officer, like you want this job. If they do not give you the job, thank them. Tell them thank you so much. I will try again. They can even think about it. Don't lose your temper. If they tell you that they are going to deny you the visa, do not be rude. Do not lose your temper. Just thank the officer and tell them that, oh, thank you for the time. Tell them like this. Thank you for the time, for spending the time and allowing me to sit in the interview. I will still try again. Imagine when you try again next time, they can give you the visa. Because remember, whenever you go for the interview, it is not a must. Even if you have a work permit. There are people who go with the work permit and they have paid for the agency fees and they do not get the visa. So, it is not that because you are going to work in Poland or wherever, you must pass the interview. Be very careful, because if you don't have enough money, you can lose that money. But if you do not mind, you can risk. Life is about risking. But I'm just giving you the tips on how to do the interview. and the reality of the matter, because there are people who think that because now you have a work permit from a government in the UK or wherever, that when you go for the interview, the visa officer is going to issue with a visa. That is a different thing. The government of Poland and the Polish embassy in your country, those are two different entities. A government and a consulate office are two different entities. So always calculate yourself well, and be ready to lose, because you can lose the money that you paid for the work permit. So that one is just a tip, because I've seen people, I have had many people crying that I paid for the work permit. I even got the work permit, but when I went to the embassy, I was denied the visa. It can happen. So before you apply for any work or you start a process, remember that you can lose all your money, and sometimes you can get your money. You can get the work. So be very careful before you take any decision. Decisions cost money, and please, your money is very hard earned. So do not just rush because you hear people are getting this, you rush and do this. Calculate yourself very well and be ready for them. Have the shock absorbers. There are people who normally don't have shock absorbers. They pay for the agency and they are sure they are going to travel. Unfortunately, remember, the agency is not the consulate officer. The consulate officer might be a very unreasonable person, and sometimes they must refuse you because of how you present yourself. You say you are going to work in wherever, maybe you are going to work in Poland, but the way they look at you, you did not even come to that visa interview prepared. So preparation matters a lot before you go for the visa interview. I think that one is a good tip, and even for the job interviews. When you are going for a job interview, always be official, even if it is in the same company. Because I have seen people, because I've been working for 2 decades. There are people who go for job interview. Maybe there is an opportunity in your country. There's an opportunity in your company, not country. And maybe you work in that country, in that company, but there's an opportunity, maybe a supervision, maybe a higher ranking opportunity. People normally go dress the way they want. You go like you are going to the garden because already you work in that company. When you are going for a work interview, for any interview, always be presentable, be very official, even if it is in the same company. Maybe there's a position they want to promote people, and you work for the same organization. Wherever you are going for a work interview, remember, you have to be very official, very well dressed, look very authentic, and look like you want that job. Otherwise, many people lose those chances because of assuming that, I work in this company, and they know that I'm qualified. Even if you are qualified, you have to talk, you have to go through the interview and answer all the questions and look very official, because even myself can't employ someone who looks I don't care. If you look I don't care, you cannot get a job, you cannot get a promotion. That's why some people stay at the same level in their workplace or get refusals for the visa because of the don't care attitude. A don't care attitude is a very bad attitude, even to God. Even when you are dealing with God and show him that you don't care, imagine God is not going to bless you. You have to show God that, surely Dad, I need this. Tell God that I need this. Even though he knows you need it, tell him that you need it, because God is going to answer you. But now you show around the don't care. They are going to employ me because they know I'm very qualified. Yes, show the urge for that thing. So for the visa interview for the US, I think I've talked more than enough. For the DS 160, yes, Abubakar, thank you so much too for keeping me company. Thank you. May the Lord bless you and fulfill the desires of your heart. For the DV Rotary, Abubakar, I wish that next year you are going to fly, because you are good. Thank you so much, my supporters, all of you. Whoever wants to go to Europe, may you get your visas approved. Yeah, thank you so much, Abubakar. I thank you also too, because without you people, I cannot even study and talk like a parrot. Because this one is in me, by the way. I decided to do this thing. It is good to talk about myself. This thing is in me, training, because I have too much information regarding traveling, regarding visas, passport, documents, and everything. So because of the too much experience, I decided to do these trainings. So you are getting training from the from your visa expert, your travel expert, and your whatever travel document expert. So anything that I talk here is not legal, but it is pure authentic. Yeah. One must be well prepared when you're going to the interview. For the visa interview, be very careful, because for the visa interview, the agencies never tell you that you can lose the chance or you can fail the interview. So you pay for the agency fee, because I have had people crying, because I've seen people all over crying. The agency is genuine, by the way, and there are opportunities. Maybe there are some agents who are genuine, though I do not want to talk about any, because I'm not one. So they give you a job offer, and then they give you a work permit after maybe you start your payments, and then you are going to go to the particular embassy for the interview. So when you go to the particular embassy for the interview, you fail the interview, and you are paid for the visa interview for that work and for the work permit. Some agencies even ask for a lot of money before the process. Imagine maybe someone is charging you, maybe, I don't know how much I can call it, and then you pay for the whole amount, and you go to the interview and lose that chance. And some of them do not care to tell you that when you go to the interview, you can fail the interview. So I'm just preparing you here. If you have any agency that is maybe helping you to get a job in wherever, be aware that you can lose everything or some of the money. There are some who are reasonable. They tell you to pay bits by bits, and then you go to the embassy and pay for the visa. Remember all those things you are paying for yourself. So before you think about anything, always calculate. Do you have enough money? Do you have shock absorbers? Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Thank you so much, Abubakar. Thank you so much. Yes, trustworthiness is the key thing in life. Being trustworthy is very key. People who are not trustworthy cannot even enter heaven. If you cannot be trusted by anyone because you are a crook, you can never be blessed. If you are an agency, ensure that you tell people everything. Tell them about the tax they are going to pay in that country. Always ensure that before someone starts the process, they know the salary that they are going to get, the deductions, and the tax. Because in some countries, by the way, the taxes are very high. You can get money, a lot of money, and they should tell you whether you are going to get accommodation. Because if you don't get accommodation in a country in Europe, never try that. Do never try that. Whether you are going to the UK, whether you are going to any European territory, and you have an agency that is taking you there, and they are not telling you the whole, they are not giving you the whole information about the accommodation, about the salary that you are going to get after taxes, do not try to start that process. Because I have seen people going even to the UK and they get depressed. Because an agency is asking for a lot of money. They normally ask for a lot of money, especially in the UK. You pay a lot of money. On arrival in the UK, and UK life is very expensive. You find that you are going to pay for yourself the rent. Just imagine coming from a country in Africa or Asia, going to pay rent in the UK. Oh, yeah, I'll share. Yeah, I'll share Baracom. Or do this Baracom services kindly. Do this just for my own reasons. Go to my inbox in YouTube and write for me, and then I'll do that. I'll do that to you. Yeah, I will. Just go and write to me a message on my YouTube. Just in this video, go after we are done. Just write to me that, and I'll do that. So please, yes, thank you. Yeah, I prefer that one because of very many reasons. So I was talking about information, and I always say this in this life. Life is not permanent, and do not take any coin from an innocent person. Unrightfully, you take advantage of someone because they do not have information. And the Bible said, do not take advantage of the poor. And the poor here, I mean anyone who is not. There are people who are not even poor, maybe financially, but they don't have information. And someone comes here and takes advantage. Before you even start a process with somebody, give them all the information about the cost of the whole thing and the benefits. If they are going to be getting this amount of money, add taxes, Tell them that you are going to be getting this amount of money and taxes will amount to this. So your net salary will be this. We are going to get accommodation, this and this. Give all the information. Because I've seen people getting mad simply because you go and pay for an agency or you pay an agent. They don't give you the whole information about accommodation, about your dues after the tax. And when you reach that country, you get very depressed. Some people even can kill themselves because right now things are not so good. So give the right information. And before even you yourself, you start a process, inquire about the full information. And if the agency is a genuine agency, let them not feel bad. Do not be bad-tempered. Do not be bad-tempered. Answer all the questions to those people that need that service before you take their cash. Because I told you, remember, you can take that cash and have a basket full of cases. Because there are people who normally carry baskets of cases in their bags. Simply because you took money from an innocent person who did not have information, and then you went and spent that money. When they arrive in those countries, they find they are going to earn peanuts. Please, whether you are taking people to the UK, whether you are taking people to wherever, to the Gulf, whether it is Kuwait, whether it is Qatar or wherever, tell them the right information that you are going to pay this, and there can be a risk of you not getting the visa, because it is possible. You can imagine all those countries, you are needed to do medical. Medical for those countries are very expensive. Even for them that go to work in the sea, because there are people who normally go to work in the sea. Those who have got maybe some qualifications, they normally go to work in the sea. We call them marine, whatever, the seamen, the seafarers, those who go to work in the sea. Tell everyone the cost, the medical cost, because medical costs are very expensive, because they normally designate particular medical facilities. Like there is one that normally does medical in Dubai. They normally employ people to go and work in the ship, but their medical is only done in Dubai. So imagine you have to go all the way to Dubai. You have to get a Dubai visa. You pay for the visa. Go to Dubai and do a medical. Because their medical facility, the designated one, is in Dubai. So I'm urging all the agencies, because I've heard the cry from many people. And these people are very desperate. When they hear there is work in wherever, they run. Don't run to anywhere where you hear there is work. Only follow the genuine people. And that genuine person hold her dress like this or her coat, so that if anything happens, she is going to be responsible. Do never rush to lose your money because of desperation. Always know the net profit. What is my net salary after taxes? Some countries, taxes are very high. So before even you start a process, ensure that the agent tells you every detail, whether you are going to pay for yourself the ticket, so that you can count everything and see whether it is even worthy for you to go and work in that company. There are some things that are not worthy. If it is too expensive and very expensive, before even you recover that money, calculate everything before you start the process and have the shock absorbers. Because if anything happens, you lose the money, you can have the shock absorber. You cannot go to ICU. You cannot become a carcass. So please, let us be authentic. That is my what can I call it? That is my policy from day one to the last. The years I have worked, I do not know how to do corruption. I do not know how to borrow. I do not know how to, I don't know do what? Manke business. Let us never do manke business. Manke business, we can never do that. If you are helping someone, be genuine, be authentic, tell them the truth. Give them the whole truth, that you are going to do this, you are going to do this, you are going to pay this. After you get your salary, you are going to pay this tax, and you are going to be given housing. After getting the housing, you are going to get these benefits. Tell them every bit before you start the process. Otherwise, you are going to get a curse from the God in heaven. God is not a man that he may lie. God will never bless you at whatever because of money that you get from people illegally or overcharging. In the other video that I did about the last minute green card lottery, I did a video before the last day of the green card. I talked about, hi to you, Barakom, say something. Hi to you, say something. Today we are going to discuss so many things, because I want to also ensure that you have the knowledge. Yes, It is good, Barakom, for people to be genuine, because I've seen people getting depressed. You hear somebody saying that their grandmother sold everything. Imagine a grandmother selling even the goat. A goat that sleeps on her chest, like that one that David took from the poor man. You can remember the story of David in the Bible. There's that story of the Bible that David took, David took the wife of Uriah the Hittite. David took the wife of Uriah the Hittite, and imagine he was a king. And this king had the chance to marry very many girls. He had the chance to have very many concubines and everything, because a king is a rich person. But now he goes to Uriah, tells the army commander, who was called Joab, to put Uriah the Hittite in the battlefront, so that Uriah could die in the battle, because David wanted to take the wife. So imagine how God felt when Uriah was killed, in an innocent soldier was put in the battlefront, so that he could die for someone to take the wife. And now God pronounced judgment on David. He pronounced judgment by Prophet Nathan. Prophet Nathan came and told David a story that there was a rich man in a village, and there was also an old man who had only one goat. I imagine whenever I mention that, my tears almost come out, because I love animals. A very small goat was sleeping on the chest of the poor man. But this rich man, when the visitor came, he took the goat of the poor man, the goat that was sleeping on the chest. Just imagine, David was like, that man should die. David not knowing that this one was judgment upon his house, simply because he took Uriah's wife, Bathsheba. And imagine he had all the chance to marry anyone that he wanted, because he was a king. But because of lust of the flesh and lust, greed of whatever, he did whatever he did. So David said, the rich man who took the goat from the poor man should die. So Nathan, the prophet of God, told David, you are the person. You took Uriah's wife, you took Uriah to the battlefront to be killed for you to get Bathsheba. So David couldn't believe that. He was so shocked. He was judged, and the baby that was gotten due to that died. But anyway, God is merciful. He later blessed Bathsheba with Solomon, who became a king. So please, let us not fall in the judgment of God because of taking the literal goat from the poor man's chest. Then the literal goat sleep on the poor man's chest, because that is the wealth of that person. And because you have a lot of it, there's sometimes I normally let me say something. Allow me to say something, my dear ones, maybe to help someone who is here, who might be in the process of being conned, or being being conned, or being overcharged. Some people normally do a lot of overcharging that is not necessary. So what did I want to say about the overcharging? Even overcharging, by the way, is a crime, is a sin before God. Overcharging anything. Something that you are supposed to sell 100 bob, you sell at 2,000. That one is a sin, and you can never be blessed. The Bible says there is a curse in the house of a thief. That is in the book of Psalms. Is it Psalms or Isaiah? The Bible says there is a curse, because that one is like thieving. You are like stealing, not thieving. So whatever you get in this life, remember, God is watching. And whatever that is not yours can never be yours. I have remembered. There's something I want to talk about. I have seen people talking about agents. Those agents that normally take people to countries like the Middle East or wherever. And those agents are normally very rich, because they have got too much money that is not even necessary. Sometimes I normally tell myself, some things that people normally want are too many for them. They are not even necessary, but because of gluttousness and greed, they normally want to exploit people too much. So I was saying this, do not overexploit people, because remember, that one is not a blessing. You can live a luxurious life. Other people can sell their goods, and now they give you that money. You go for outings, you go for holidays. Those people normally go for holidays in posh whatever. They do their holidays, they do their flights, they travel all over. If you are an agent and you are listening to me, please, just because I love you with the love of God, please be genuine and be reasonable. Do not overcharge anyone. Imagine a grandmother selling everything, so that the granddaughter or the grandson can come and give you that money for them to go for a holiday. Please be genuine. Just be reasonable. You can take you can take something because anyway you need it to, maybe for transport, to go to the whatever, to get the work permits and whatever, but be reasonable. In this life, be reasonable, because remember, at the judgment seat, Christ is going to come and ask you, I gave you work to become an agent, but you did not do it right. You overcharged the people. You became a thug instead of being a genuine person. Get out of my sight, you unfaithful servant. And the age of death, you know, we have got ages of life and ages of death. They are going to take you so beautifully and throw you to the lake of fire because of whatever you did. And how sure are you that you are even going to be 60 years? How even sure are you that you are going to go up to 75 years? How sure are you are going to even to go up to 45? Remember, when you do evil things, when people cry because of you, remember your life can be cut short. But when you are a good person, because I have seen people who are good, the agents who are genuine, when there is no work, they say there is no work. And they charge it very reasonably. Because people who are looking for jobs are very, what can I say, they are destitute. They do not have the money, my dear. Some of them sell up things to go and pay for that. So do not overcharge. Be genuine so that God might bless your work. The Bible says, the God says in his word, he is going to bless the work of our hands. But imagine when you are doing evil things, you are misleading people. Maybe you write, when you are filling forms for people about to go to get the visa, you write the wrong details because you don't care, simply because you have got your agency fee. You want them to fill out the interview so that tomorrow they can come again for you to fill for them. Never do that. By the way, I'm a preacher also of the gospel. I do not have a church. I only go to church as a pastor, but I'm not myself a pastor. So do not mistake me that I'm calling you to come to my church. No, don't come to my church. I normally go to a church as a pastor, a servant of God who is a genuine pastor, because I know we have got very many people who are genuine. There are very many genuine, because in the Bible, even during the time of Elijah told God, there is no more genuine prophet. Yes, I'm an advisor also. I'm a counselor by the way, Abu Bakr. So Elijah told God there were no more genuine prophets. There are only remaining the prophets of Baal. But God told him there are still more who had not defiled themselves. So remember, there are still people who have not defiled themselves. There are people who can't take a bribe. They are servants of God who are genuine forever, and they are going to be genuine forever. And God will have confirmed that. But they are also wolves. Now the problem, to differentiate between a wolf and a sheep, it is very hard. Because remember, the wolf and the sheep normally look like they are similar. But when you have the Holy Spirit of God, you can tell this one is a sheep and this one is a wolf. So Abu Bakr, do not fear. We have the sheep and the wolves. Be careful to know who is a sheep and a wolf. Even when you are looking for a job through those people who call themselves agents, be very careful that they are not the ones that exploit people. People normally sell everything. And then when they go to those countries, they are paid peanuts. Before you pay for the agency fee that you paid for, you can even go mad. People are so depressed. So my countrymen, people from all over the world, I love you with the love of Christ. This channel is about authenticity, truthfulness, and helping others without wanting anything. Because finally, the final destination is the grave, and others in heaven. There are those who are going to go to the grave and later to hell because of whatever they did. There are those who are going to, maybe there are those who will never even taste the grave, because the rapture will happen when they are still living, depending on when Christ will come back. But I know Abu Bakr is not one. Abu Bakr, I think he is a Muslim, and we are okay with that. We have the freedom of choice. Abu Bakr, we have the freedom. For us, for like myself, I am a Christian. If you are Muslim, we are all brothers. We love one another, because our God is love. You cannot hate a Muslim. Neither it's not good to hate a Muslim or you to hate a Christian. We have the freedom of choice, because everyone have got their own faith. So before you are applying for those jobs, calculate everything and see whether it is worth it. But my dear ones, I wish you well. Those who are going for the job interviews, I pray that God is going to give you the favor. Be official. Dress like someone who is going for a very, very important occasion. Because people go to the interview, you are looking like you are tired. Maybe you never slept at night. Sleep well at night, so that when you go to the interview, your eyes are shining and you are keeping eye contact with the interviewer. Eye contact is very important. Even when you go for a job interview, keep eye contact. Answer the questions. If you did not hear something, always request them to talk. Do not assume. If you did not hear something clearly, tell them, say again. Yes, tell them to say again. Do not just assume that they said something and then you give the wrong answer. Do not fear to tell somebody, even if it is a manager or a visa officer, tell them very courteously, say again, I didn't get you. And they are going to repeat. And they are going to see that surely you are very attentive. So, authenticity is our policy in this Grace Travels channel. And I'm sure we are going to go far because God is going to open doors for us because we are authentic. When you are authentic, doors just open. When you are a criminal, and you know a criminal is who? People who overcharge others, people who lie to others that their jobs, they take their money and then later they tell them to wait. That one is a criminal, and that is a sin. So you are doing a crime against the government and you are doing a sin against the living God. Do never take advantage. Remember, service to man is service to God. Where you are serving, Barakom, whatever, I'll give you that. We shall talk about that. In that, whatever I told you. You are okay? We shall talk in that, whatever I told you to inbox me on the YouTube. So, oh yes. So your advisor here, unfortunately this advisor is very tough. Even at work I'm tough, I'm strict. I never take chances, I never take nonsense, I never take bribes, I never take monkey businesses. I do not like, by the way, monkey businesses are evil, they are wicked. Even if you are Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much. Yeah. Even the Muslims, they are very authentic. I have seen Muslims being very authentic. By then we live with the Muslims and they are very authentic. They cannot lie to you. They cannot take you as anything that is not right. They do not take whatever is not theirs unrightfully. They are very authentic. Even when you live with them in the same apartments, they are normally the best people. So, we are going to be authentic, please. We are going to change our ways, please. We cannot cheat others. We cannot take advantage of other people. At because you are a YouTuber, you take advantage. Because you are whatever, you take advantage. Because you are an agency, you want to take advantage. How can you do that? Do you think that those people, God did not create them? God created them in his own image and likeness. And if you take advantage of the people of God, imagine how God is going to react. It's like right now, someone comes and take your child. How will you react? Even if you don't have the power, you can do very bad things. Even if you are not a big person, a huge person. Someone comes and take advantage of your children. That is how God feels when people take advantage. Because there have been an outcry from many people. Oh my God, I paid this to an agency. They told me, I don't know what. Please do never take money from anyone. Mama, oh, you are Imam Abubakar. Oh, that's nice. So you are very genuine. You have to be very authentic. Abubakar, in this life, remember, it is not permanent. People who normally take advantage of others, they are going to get a very unlawful permanent punishment. Because remember, even in normal life, not even the Bible, normal life, service to God is service to man is service to God. So if you are an agent, remember that is service to man. And when you are serving man, you are serving God himself. Are you genuine in your dealings? Do you overcharge people because you take advantage because they are desperate? Especially now because people are very desperate. People are now very desperate because there are no jobs, maybe. So people take advantage. When they get those jobs from agencies in wherever, they normally take total advantage. Something that it can be charged one times, they charge times 10. That one is a basket of curses. And I'm telling you, do not carry that basket. A basket of curses can lead you to bad things. But when you are authentic, imagine forever and ever you are blessed eternally. In this life and life to come. Me, I have lived in this world for many years, but whatever things I have seen, I opted to be genuine to everyone and to everybody. Not unless those people who have got their own problems. Because there are people you can try to love them and be genuine, but they have their own issues. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who are positive. Because there are people who are never positive. Even if you carry them on your back, even if you give them whatever, they are still negative and they are still malicious. But for the genuine people, I I opt to be genuine to everyone, even those that are bad, because there are people who are just, they choose to be bad people for no reason. Just be genuine to them, never pray for them. Never pray evil prayers for them, because God do not answer evil prayers. Be genuine, authentic to everyone. In YouTube, be genuine. Whether you are TikToker, genuine. Whether you are whatever, genuine. Because at the end of it all, we have a judge. And the judge in heaven is never bribed. You can never bribe him. You have to answer all the questions. And after the questions, you are going to see it. You are going to know that you don't know. So please, these are interviews. Go being very official with all the documentation that you need. Remember, after filling the visa form, the form DS-160, you have to print it, because you need to carry it to the embassy. And the questions that are going to be asked are going to be asked from what you filled. So when you are filling the form, always ask someone who has knowledge to guide you, because I've seen people doing very bad things because of agents. Remember, agents are not learned people. They do not know those rules. They are not everyone who lives wherever knows the rules of that country. So, please, I know even German rules, even than people who live in Germany. Because I've seen people coming with German documents that are not supposed to be traveling to Germany with. People who live in Turkey does not mean they know documents needed for Turkey, because they do not work with the immigration. So please, when you are doing anything, maybe filling a visa form, maybe you want to do something regarding immigration, do not run to an agency, a commercial agency, because they are going to ask you for money, they enrich their pockets, and they will not care about your visa refusal in the embassy. That's why people normally cry. I went to the embassy, and I was told by the agency to say this. How can the agency tell you to go and lie? And then you go and lie, and then you lie white lies, and then you are caught. You go and lie white lies. You know why? The pure lie that everyone will see this is a lie. For example, supposing someone comes and tells you, when you are filling a visa form for the US, someone comes and tells you to say that you have ever tried to the US, you have ever traveled to the US. And because you are a layman, you don't know, you go and lie in the visa form, your travel history. I traveled in the US, you fill in the visa form, and then you submit it. And then during the visa day or the interview day, you go with that visa form. And remember, you sent it to the embassy. So they are going to ask you, have you ever traveled to the US? And then you say yes, because the agent told you so. So they are going to ask you, when did you travel to the US? And then you lie, because the agency told you to lie. I traveled in, I don't know, June, maybe 2023. They check in the system. Nothing like that. And then you open your mouth wide. Do never go to fill the visa interview. Do never go to an agency for such advice. They do not care about you being refused or whatever that is going to happen to you. Remember, they are commercial and they are money thirst. And whoever someone who is money thirst, you will never care whether you are going to die or live, or get the visa or get depression. So, as your visa expert here, I wish you well. Any advice regarding a visa, we shall be doing live whatever. I shall be streaming live, because I do not like about calls, SMSs. I don't like doing monkey businesses, simply because I have to remain authentic forever. And that is why I prefer any comments that are official, we can put them in the comment section. God put this in me because of the experience that I have regarding travel documents of all the countries in the world. These countries are especially European countries. All European countries, I have all the information and all the rules that they require. US, Canada, Turkey, Middle East. For the Middle East, I mean the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, the 6 countries in the Gulf, and then Israel, and then UK, and then Ireland. Ireland is in Europe, it's also European. Ireland is also European. And then I have got to Turkey, Egypt, Egypt, Turkey. Yeah, those are the main destinations. And I know those are the destinations that people normally go to. Maybe you want to go to France, you want to go to Italy, you want to go to Norway, you want to go to the US, to Ireland, to Canada, UK, all those destinations. So I think so far we are good. We have gotten enough information. If there is any agent listening to me, let us be authentic and help one another in this life, because after this life, there is another life, and God is going to judge you on what you did. If you did anything wrong to a human being, remember you are going to pay for it. You are going to pay with your own blood, because God does not like that. Whatever you do in this life, remember, one day, one time, you are not going to be alive. There is always an end of everything. Riches have got an end. Wealth have got an end. Good, big houses have got an end. And that is why I'm never... Yes, true, Abu Bakr. And for the Muslims, you normally help with a good heart. I have seen even children, they are normally very genuine. They are very genuine. You normally help your poor people. By the way, Muslims, the poor ones live in the mosques, and they are normally given help from in those mosques. It is good to always help when one can. Do never say no. If you have two packets of maybe sugar or whatever, and someone is asking for one, give them that one. Don't tell them to go and be blessed. And when you are helping someone, as in, even if you are charging someone for an agency or whatever, do never overcharge. If you are selling clothing, do not overcharge. Just be reasonable, so that God can be your shareholder in that business. God can never be a shareholder of a thief, because when you are stealing people, you are overcharging them. God can never be found there. Whatever you are going to find there is the devil with his horns, and not God. And the devil comes, the Bible says in John 10:10, the devil comes but to steal, to kill, and to destroy, 3 things. So please, we shall not be friends with the devil. We shall not be friends with the devil. Even in YouTube, we shall not lie. People normally give false information. You give people false information, and then they go and get problems. Always something, don't talk about it. Whatever I'm teaching here is purely authentic, because that is what I do. So whatever I do, that is after very many years of experience, that is very legit and automatically pure before the eyes of man and God. But if I don't know anything, I cannot come here and say I know, because that is wrong. So before you go for the visa interview, please ensure that you have what it takes, instead of losing the money and being blacklisted for now. Because when you go so many, anyway, you can even go many times and they give you a visa finally. Yeah, salam alaikum. Thank you. So thank you, Abu Bakr. I know people are tired. Tomorrow is a Monday in most African territories. Tomorrow is a working day, because I know tomorrow is going to be. So I'm going to close the live show. I love you all. If you have any personal question, you can ask me in the comment section. Any genuine question. Let us be authentic. Let us be genuine. Because as I told you, comment that you make on TikTok, on YouTube, on wherever, they can count when you are going for the visa interviews, even for the green card interview. So let us be authentic. Let us be kind to one another. Because when you are kind to one another, when you plant kindness, you are going to reap kindness. When you plant hatred, you are going to reap hatred. When you plant authenticity, you reap authenticity. And being authentic, in other words, is being genuine. That one is, when we are checking travel documents, we normally call them authentic, because we have got the counterfeit and the authentic. Authentic is the opposite of counterfeit. Counterfeit are the fake, but not in professional we call them counterfeit. We can call them either fake or counterfeit. So something fake is counterfeit. So if you are an agent, do not be fake or counterfeit, be authentic. The other word for authentic is genuine. So genuine and authentic, good. Counterfeit, fake, bad. So you should be genuine, you should not be counterfeit, you should not be fake. People who overcharge people to go and have holidays, it's not bad to have a holiday, but remember that you should not eat people's blood money. Somebody sold a little goat, maybe a grandmother, a very old grandmother who is not even, they have no strength in them. Yeah, thank you so much, Abu Bakr. Thank you so much. So a grandmother will sell a piece of land so that you can go for holiday. Remember that one is a basket of curses. Let us be authentic and reasonable. It is good to earn, but earn reasonably. Because finally, when you come out of that body, when you get out of that body of yours, remember we have got judgment. And remember, even before that judgment, it starts before you die. The judgment of God starts before someone gets out of this body. This one is just a, what we call this? It's like a tent that is holding your spirit and your soul. So let us not sin with this body. This body you can't do that, please. Don't. Let's be genuine. Yeah, and you have if you don't have right information, do never teach wrong information. Be authentic in your teaching. Be genuine. Wherever you work, be genuine. Do not be a criminal in your company. Be genuine. Everywhere you are, whatever you do, we have to be right. Before men, before God, before our employers, and be positive and have the positive spirit. When you are doing customer service things, maybe you are a shopkeeper, give good customer service. Don't show people bad attitude. God can never bless you. If you work in the hospital, please be authentic to the patients. Treat them with humanity and have mercy upon them because they are vulnerable. Do not sin. Do not sin. If you work for the government, whatever institutions, be authentic because remember God is going to judge you. Do not misbehave because you are a government worker. Do not behave because you are a don't know worker. Whatever you are, remember God is watching. And whatever money that you get out of doing bad manners, you are going to be judged and you are not going to be blessed. Yeah, you can send your questions back later. I will answer all of them very, very nicely. Any questions regarding a visa, regarding a travel rule, regarding UK, US, Canada, wherever, Middle East, Dubai, wherever. Yeah, because I'm a mother, Abubakar, I'm a mother. I don't like people being, I don't know, Mathogothanios. We call them Mathogothanios in our language. I don't like Mathogothanios. And people who love Mathogothanios hate people who don't love them. So myself, I love genuineness. I love authenticity. And I'll teach authenticity till I come of this life after I'm very old. After maybe I'm 60, I'm 70, maybe, no, I'm not 60, I'll be still very young. After I'm 100 years, I want to come out of this as after 100. After I teach people the right path, I teach people the authenticity. I teach the agents not to overcharge. I teach people who give wrong information not to do that because it is wrong to give wrong information. So I can call it quits. Otherwise, I wish you well. Those who are going to work tomorrow, may the protection of God be upon you. May God's favor be upon you. Whoever shall meet you, let them favor, even the bad people. Even when you meet with thugs and thieves, let them not harm you, but favor you. Because when you have the favor of God, even bad people will speak for you. So I wish you well. If you have not subscribed, kindly consider subscribing for more and more informative videos. I will keep teaching you on how to do good customer service, on how to do good job interviews, on how to do good visa interviews, on how to do good work interviews, because there are people who normally go for the visa interview for work and they fail because they do not know what to do. And I have taught so many things in this video. Please subscribe, like and share, because I know many people perish because they do not know. The Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And here Grace says people fail the interview because of lack of knowledge. And because I have spilled knowledge, kindly listen to that video and subscribe for more and more. Thank you so much. I'll quit now. Bye. Abubakar, bye. I wish you well in Gambia. Say hi to the Gambian people. And tell the Gambian people to subscribe to my channel for amazing videos. Barakom, thank you so much. Thank you for giving me company. May the Lord open for you doors that no man can close. Anyone who have been with me now, I wish you well. I wish you the blessings of God. I wish you that God is going to cut the bars of iron and break the gates of bronze so that you might walk well and there will be no crooked places. He is going to make the crooked places straight for you and give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, because that is your portion. And there is no weapon that is fashioned against you that shall prosper. And every tongue that raises against you in judgment, you shall condemn it, because that is your heritage. And God says in Jeremiah 29:11, For the thoughts I have for you are thoughts of goodness and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. So I wish you well. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord open for you doors in America, in Canada, in Europe, and in everywhere in this world. Wherever you want to go, let those doors open in Jesus' name. Amen. And now I go.